I decided to keep to the Peranakan philosophy of living because historically this home, being a shop house and being a home that was used for commerce and also lived in by a family, it rang pretty true to what I commonly do in every country I live. Because I operate from the home, because I use my home as my showroom and I invite people into my personal, intimate space, it's important for me to respect the historical architecture of the building and integrate that into my story as a designer. Hi, my name is Lima Sitawi. I'm an international fashion designer living here in Singapore. I've lived in 7 countries, 14 cities, and I speak 4 languages. So I guess that kind of makes me a global citizen. So we chose Emerald Hill because it's in the city center and it has historic reference. For the most part, it's the only thing we can offer our kids as far as consistency. For my customers, coming up from Orchard Road is pretty much a no-brainer. They can walk straight up the hill and they're right at my doorstep. I tend to see myself as a gracious guest. So when I'm in a new country, I like to respect and adapt and assimilate to some of the local customs and cultures and then integrate that into my own being. For example, you have the pintu pagar, which is this kind of opening, this small door in the beginning, and the windows that have been hand-carved from the traditional Peranakan style. As you can see, there are 2 different atrium cutouts in the building. You have 2 light sources coming from the top because the 2 side walls don't actually have windows. So it was a very important element, letting both light and rainwater in. Having natural lighting and water, nature in general in the home is really important to me as a designer because it's very inspirational. Having a flow of positive energy, respecting the qualities of feng shui, and also making sure that I'm not just stuck in a concrete jungle. The rainwater that is collected in here back in the day was also a very important feature for the families and for the business people. It was their main source of water. So another element that the water reflects the light. So the sun comes down, it bounces off of the water, and then you get these beautiful reflections of sunlight throughout the time of the day. And oftentimes I use that as my reference because I don't work with a clock. So I use that as a reference for time. Where the actual light reflections on the wall are hitting, I know pretty much what time of day it is. So an amphora is basically a huge terracotta pot that's used at the corners of the home to collect rainwater. So basically the way that the Peranikans were collecting rainwater in their reservoirs in the center of their homes. So most of the pieces that you find around the house, the antique pieces that is, they are coming from different parts of the world as we've collected along the way. Sitting upon this piece here, which is an 1800s Chinese cabinet. We found this in Shanghai. After living 3 years in Shanghai, we really wanted also to make sure that was a part of our story. And it was actually hand-finished by my father and my husband, so it has a very special memory for us. And then upstairs, in the master bedroom, we have an original, authentic Peranakan wardrobe, which is something we bought on purpose after having lived here in this house. We wanted to bring back in the future, once we leave Singapore, a piece of this historic home that we lived in. So I hang my paintings throughout my home. They remind me of certain moments I was going through in my life when I painted them. It's something I tend to do every time I move to a new country, is make a painting that reflects, I guess, the nostalgia for the country that I was living in prior. For sure, I will paint Singapore one day. 你是什么生肖? Singapore is just the natural next layer to my story. This is home. What's yours like?